Flyweights, Michael Carbajal and Jose Luis Herrera. And Herrera clearly has upset on his mind. He's a guy who's only lost one fight. That was his first fight. And Michael Carbajal, who said today he wants a test, could get one tonight. So far, though, everything's been just fine.
Olympic silver medalist Michael Carbajal has been golden as a pro. After his first bout went the distance, early KOs became the norm. Here, Silviano Perez fell in one round to the Carbajal combinations. And Pedro Espinosa would go even quicker. The pride of Phoenix unleashed some major league left hooks and sent him down in one. Then, for Prudencio de Jesus, it was primarily a right-handed attack, but the result was the same. But tonight, Michael faces his toughest test as a pro against Jose Luis Herrera.
All right, Al, give us a little keys.
Well, for Michael Carbajal, keep those combinations flowing. I think that's when he's really at his best. The hook to the body is such a good weapon for him. He'll need it against Herrera because Herrera will try and get on the inside, and I think he wants to disrupt Carbajal's rhythm. You have to make him fight in a way that he's not used to. And as you look at Herrera, I think part of the reason why Carbajal should throw those left hooks, Barry, is he's going to have to win the battle on the inside.
Herrera very serious about this fight. He comes in here, he gives himself a legitimate chance, and you really had the idea in talking to he and his handlers this morning that he really does feel that he can win. He's not in here as an opponent. He's in here to further his own career and at the same time put a little bit of a halt to Michael Carbajal. Let's meet them now with Michael Buffer.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Top Rank and Budweiser, this is another one of our special featured bouts of the evening. The three judges for this contest are Bert Clements, Doug Tucker, and Herb Santos. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 8 rounds, and it's in the light flyweight division. The referee is Norm Budden. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he's wearing the black trunks and weighs an even 109 pounds. He's from Mexicali, Mexico, and has a professional record of 13-1, 8 by knockout victory. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Jose Luis Charol Herrera. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the white trunks with red letters, he weighs 108.5 pounds. From Phoenix, Arizona, this silver medalist from the 1988 Olympics has an undefeated professional record of 7-0, 6 by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, Manitas de Piedra, Michael Carbajal.
Gentlemen, you received your instruction in the dressing room. Were there any questions at this time? Remember, protect yourselves at all times. Yes.
Shorts high.
If it's right here, I won't call it low. Any questions? Let's do it.
And there's a look at Michael Carbajal. He has definitely been on a roll. After a first fight, tougher than I'm sure he expected, he has run up 6 consecutive knockouts. The same might be said about Jose Herrera. Suffered a loss in his very first fight to Isaias Zamudio, who ironically, Michael Carbajal also fought him as an amateur before going on to the national championships. Herrera fought Zamudio as an amateur too and wanted to fight him as a professional, and now when he looks back on it, he says, I wish I'd have waited.
See the power of Michael Carbajal, and we have seen that power. I'll tell you, he throws hooks and straight right hands that will knock out almost anybody in his division.
You know, he said an interesting thing, and we chatted with him this morning. He said before he started fighting as an amateur, he had a pro style, and he had to adapt his style to that of an amateur. Now that he's become a pro again, he's had to readapt his style to what it was in the first place. He said he's always thought of himself really as a banger more than he has as a boxer.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. We saw him at the Olympic Festival a couple years in a row, and I always thought he would be a big puncher, but didn't want to set down on his punches because in the amateurs you have to land lots of punches.
He also said an interesting thing today, too, in that he said, I want a tough fight. He said, I want somebody who's going to get in there and scrap.
He should get that against Herrera. And the people in the Carbajal camp, they're concerned about this bout.
Well, I think they think of Herrera as kind of an unknown quantity.
Yes, he's got the good record. They kind of know about him, but there's so many conflicting reports about Herrera's style. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, in fact, Danny Carbajal, the brother, of course, of Michael Carbajal, who works with him in the corner, said that he sent some friends down from Yuma, Arizona, to take a look at Jose Herrera, and they came back and said, well, he switches up, and he's a guy who really isn't going to get you out of there with one punch, but cumulatively, he can be tough. And, of course, when I talked this morning with Herrera, he said, no, I can get you out with one punch, and I won't switch up.
And he's got a bunch of first and second round knockouts to prove the point. Carbajal starting out much more tentatively, it's a good right hand, than in recent bouts, and I think that's almost a sign of the fact that he expects Herrera to be a little tougher. But certainly Michael is doing well in this first round, and Herrera has not really unleashed that much of an attack yet.
Another factor, something to consider, is the fact that we are, of course, at altitude here. Herrera says he's been training at 8,000 feet. So as this fight goes on, if it goes on, conditioning could become a factor.
So far, Herrera has made no effort to get inside against Carbajal, staying at long range. If you stay at long range with Carbajal, your chances of victory are diminished greatly. And a good uppercut. There's the hook downstairs. Now, see, there's where Herrera can do some work. And he does, landing a good left hook.
Pretty good first round for both fighters. Michael Carbajal apparently will get tested tonight.
All you gotta do is just what you do. You keep that jab, all right? Let's go, all right? With that jab, Michael, it's gonna come. He's gonna be ready for that right hand.
Danny Carbajal working in the corner of...
When he's inside, that's when he wants to
Michael.
trade, okay? Once he gets inside, you gotta connect and move, all right?
Carbajal in the last round, setting him up with his jab. Nice right to the jaw of Herrera. Herrera had some moments in that round. There's the good jab that got in, but even more than that, when he was at short range, he did some effective work.
By his own admission, that's where he said he has to be, and as you mentioned, he really wasn't there very much. Carbajal, very good body puncher, did some good body work in that first round.
Carbajal, of course, is his idol is Roberto Duran, and he calls himself the Little Hands of Stone. And he will be fighting underneath Duran again. He was on the undercard of Duran Barkley, and he'll be in the undercard of Duran Leonard on December 7th in Las Vegas. Good hooks downstairs, but Carbajal countering with the left hook very well. Indication of the punches landed. You know, one thing about Herrera, and this is going to give Carbajal trouble, he really has an awkward kind of a style. Kind of a crab-like approach, and I'll tell you, that's going to make it tough for Carbajal. Good shot
by Herrera, backed Carbajal right up.
Yeah, tonight we're going to find out something about Michael Carbajal. There's no question about that.
It's really interesting, you know, in the conversations that you and I have in the mornings with the fighters, you can almost get a sense of how the fight is going to be. And when we talked with Herrera this morning, you really did have a distinct feeling this fight was going to be exactly as it has been so far.
Yeah, he really wants it. He feels that he's at a level where he can give Carbajal plenty of trouble. Carbajal using the jab, and that's a good weapon for him. The combinations I talked about from Carbajal have not been flowing as freely. There they are. A four-punch combination and three landed.
He paid for it with a left hand. Herrera is strong. Every time he really does get a good punch in, he backs Carbajal up with it.
about Carbajal is he has such a good arsenal of punches. You see it. Hooks, jabs, straight right hands, uppercuts, got them all.
Herrera not being the least bit careless, and you can see him really having a healthy respect for Michael Carbajal and not just rushing in haphazardly. We'll be back. A look at Jose Herrera, who has held his own here as we come to round 3. Michael Carbajal in the white, Herrera in the black trunks. We're at Harrah's in Lake Tahoe, Nevada.
Neither man has been that effective with his jab, though Carbajal has been better. 24 of 103 for 23% landed. Herrera only 4 of 21, but you didn't figure he was going to land that many jabs or throw that many. It's total punches through 2 rounds, and you can see that Carbajal has a pretty hefty lead. But it isn't that much. It really doesn't reflect in a certain way that how competitive Herrera has been. See, if he would get inside Herrera, which he's been able to do, walk through the jab, but he just hasn't done it often enough.
I think he just really does have a healthy respect for the power of Carbajal.
And rightfully so. There's the 3-punch combination. One landed. When you throw 3 punches in combination like that, something is going to land.
Take a look at your card after the first 2 rounds out.
I gave both rounds to Carbajal. I thought the second round was a little closer, but I had to give it to him because he did land some very effective punches.
One thing that it does appear with Herrera, correct me if I'm wrong, but he looks like he's pretty much of an arm puncher. He doesn't really have a tendency to turn those punches.
Yeah, he lunges a lot. Doesn't get his body into it. Only throwing those 21 jabs, that's part of the reason. He does not jab his way in and then get inside and work. He's trying to load up and work his way inside. Now there's the body work by Carbajal and the uppercut.
Uppercut has found a home twice now for Michael Carbajal in the last 2 rounds.
And what's happening is Carbajal's now winning the battle on the inside as well as the outside, because Herrera is not being busy enough when he is in there. Took to the body by Carbajal. We've talked about his body punching ability.
Oh, another good body shot by Carbajal.
That right hand made me wince at ringside when Carbajal threw to the right hand. That was for the body. That was excellent.
And another. That will slow the most conditioned fighter up. Very good body work by Carbajal, despite him wanting to keep him up.
Most are legal, and he is slowing Herrera with every one of those shots.
So we head down to the end of round number 3. And this was a very good round for Michael Carbajal. We'll be back.
Michael Carbajal, look at this. The jab, the right, and then boom, the left downstairs. And the left to the body. So Carbajal throwing those combinations we talked about and doing the body shots. What's this left hand underneath? Oh. Clinic on body punching.
Excellent round for Michael Carbajal. And the power of Michael Carbajal really starting to show itself here. This is exactly the kind of fight that Carbajal wanted. Tough, but yet a fight that he appears at least to be winning handle.
Yeah, and Herrera himself in that last round threw more combinations. He put more punches together, but Carbajal showed very good defense and blocked a lot of those shots.
I mentioned that Herrera had been training at 8,000 feet. He said he's been training the old-fashioned way with an axe, breaking up rocks, running in combat boots. Good exchange there, and Herrera with that looping left hand.
He's a tough guy, and against your average fighter out there, he's gonna win. He's gonna knock him out, and he's gonna win because he does have some power, and he's rough and tough. Carbajal's skill level is just above his. There's Carbajal's edge in the last round, according to our punch profile. Always a reliable and accurate tool for us.
45% accuracy for Carbajal. Carbajal continues to do very good body work and continues to find a home for the uppercut.
tell you. You know what you have to like about Carbajal is he's got so many ways to beat another boxer. There's a straight right hand.
Actually, right now, Herrera is where he wants to be, and Carbajal's getting the better of him. Carbajal's just wearing Herrera down. Another uppercut.
That uppercut, I think, stunned Herrera.
Blood from the nose of Herrera.
That was illegal.
Right.
That was a legal punch, so he got a warning from the referee. He is just destroying him to the body, Michael Carbajal is.
Really is. That's been the story of the fight. Double left hand by Herrera hurt Carbajal. And an uppercut by Carbajal, and down goes Herrera. What an exchange.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Got it? Let's do it.
Up at 9, and I'll tell you what looked like his finest moment in this bout turned into disaster for Herrera.
Actually, I really believe he had Carbajal hurt there. Carbajal fought back.
What body
put
work.
Him down.
What body work by Michael Carbajal. I mean, he's one of the best body punchers you'll see, period.
Heavy-handed puncher, too. We talked about Tommy Morrison being heavy-handed. Michael Carbajal, of course, is about 100 pounds lighter than Tommy Morrison, and he's as heavy-handed as Morrison is.
Herrera, a tough guy, you can see that, but boy, he has taken some big shots. His hands are very low right now.
And again, you got to credit the body shots for creating that. And another good body shot. You see him drop his elbows when Carbajal hit him?
Stoic look on his face as always. Michael Carbajal doesn't show much emotion.
Relax. He's yours, okay? Just relax. You're doing everything right, okay? I don't want you. All I see is that you kind of drop your hands when you start to load up, okay? Once you load up, Michael, get in position again, okay? Calmado, resuella, pícale, okay? And you'll have it. Listen what?
Here's where it looked like Carbajal might have been rocked by a hook. We'll get a chance to see it again. Going to come up Herrera with a big hook. Now, that one wasn't that great. That one off the side of the head. So I don't think he was as hurt as we first thought he was. But, boy, I'll tell you what, he came back. There's that uppercut, a punch that he has used throughout this bout. And he was shaking, moving away with these punches.
Exactly. See, when you watch it live, you see his head snap like that, and you think it's the punch. I did.
It looked that way.
And it turned out it was not.
This one looks like it could be a matter of time.
And again, you can see how busy Carbajal is compared to Herrera, and look at that percentage.
Man. And I'll tell you, part of that is because he's going to the body so much and is landing just about everything he's throwing to the body.
That was about as perfect a round, I think, as you can fight.
Yes, I agree 100% because he did everything right in the round.
You made it a two-point round.
Yes, you have to with the knockdown.
Oh, we're talking about how impressive Tommy Morrison was and how far he's come, and I think you can echo those exact words about Michael Carbajal.
I saw his first bout against Will Grigsby. I called that bout, and it was a struggle for Michael Carbajal. Will Grigsby's a good boxer, and I'll tell you what, I think by having such a close win, that gave Carbajal resolve to do better, and I'll tell you, he has been just devastating since then. And this Michael Carbajal would beat Grigsby more decisively.
That right hand a moment ago hurt Herrera. And there's the uppercut again. Herrera's in trouble, I think.
Well, when you look at the young men, the Olympians and those alternates and all the rest that have turned professional, you have to believe Carbajal is right up there with the best of them in terms of his development.
Bob Arum, of course, saying he hopes to make Michael Carbajal the first millionaire, at least have $1 million fight as a junior flyweight. Never happened before.
Not a division that would command those kind of dollars, but Michael Carbajal just might. He's entertaining. You know, when you get him against top contenders and a champion, it's going to be very entertaining.
problem is, of course, you know, there's the old thing, great fighters make great fights, and Michael Carbajal may in fact wind up being a great fighter. Good exchange by Herrera, but back comes Carbajal. But he's going to need another great fighter to make a great fight.
Herrera with the blood flowing, still throwing, and has landed in this round better than in previous rounds, ironically, but still losing the round decisively.
Caught in the gloves. Herrera now getting into a little bit more of a brawl, which is probably what he would have wanted from the beginning. We'll be back. And in the corner of Charol Herrera, 13-1. A little bit of concern, needless to say. They're trying to stem the flow of blood from the nose.
And this is why that nose is bleeding. Well, there's a right to the cheekbone, and he will go where else to the body. That's just excellent body punching by Michael Carbajal, who've been redundant in saying it, but it's been superb.
Round number 6. Incidentally, this fight's scheduled for 8 rounds.
I want to give a big thank you to all the people in Moab, Utah, who rolled out the red carpet. I was there for their film commission, the oldest film commission in America, by the way. I received their dinner this weekend, and some very nice people up there in that part of the country. And they all love you, Barry. They wanted me to give you their regards.
You got the key to the city.
Well, not the key, but maybe a card or something.
They left
pass
the door
card,
open.
yeah.
And your card, I don't think this is going to be a big surprise.
No, Carbajal winning, shutting him out, 1 a 2-point round, and just dominating Herrera.
He's dominating a pretty good fighter. I think you could probably make a case for, with the possible exception of Will Grigsby, maybe his best opponent.
Yes, oh, definitely his best opponent. And they needed to put him in against somebody a little bit better, and they did. He has responded very well. Herrera's still throwing some heavy shots. That right hand to the body, very good punch by him. It looked for all the world in the fourth like Herrera would be out of this fight, and he's not. So hooked by Herrera.
Still throwing punches, throwing hard punches. Another combination by Herrera, backs Carbajal up. Carbajal, every time he gets hit, fights back. The overhand right got there. I think Herrera's really, there's a good right hand. That got Herrera's attention.
Carbajal loading up on those right hands and able to get that punch in now as Herrera's hands keep getting lower and lower.
Suspect Carbajal has probably been hit harder tonight than he has been in his pro career.
Yeah, Herrera has landed some pretty good shots. Not too many, but some. And the difference between the men that Carbajal has been knocking out and this man here is that this is a real quality opponent. Not that the others were all bad, they weren't, but they were the kind of guys, if you hit them with real big shots, you can get them out.
Of course, another big story, the fact that his last 6 knockouts came against guys whose first names ended in O. I don't know why I know that, and I don't know why anybody would care.
Well, it's a small fact, but perhaps an important one.
That's right. Who knows? And maybe Alex Trebek may be asking that.
And let's look at my keys to victory. His scores can radically change. Carbajal, remember him? Keep the combinations flowing. He's done that. The hook to the body, it's been superb. I didn't put the uppercut in. I could have. Herrera has not gotten inside enough, and he definitely has not disrupted Carbajal's rhythm, though he was starting to do that in the second and third round. So Michael Carbajal has used his keys a little bit better.
It's just been a very impressive showing for Michael Carbajal so far against a quality opponent. We said it would be, and we said he would be tested, and sure enough, it has been.
There's some comedy giants, huh? Literally. John Candy over here, Uncle Buck, signing autograph. And remember, hey, Rip Taylor with all that, throws the confetti into the audience and everything.
I used to watch him on the Gong Show.
Yeah,
one of my faves.
That's right. Well, no, of course, I just watched public television, so I wouldn't know about
No,
stuff
I know
like
that. That's true. That's true.
Two funny men.
He wasn't in War and Peace. No.
I don't think so.
Round number 7 scheduled for 8. New turf for Michael Carbajal.
Has never been this far, and what about going 8 rounds in the altitude? He's thrown a lot of punches. Herrera, you talked about in training, is running uphill. Right now, looks like he's running downhill, getting hit with those good left hands by Carbajal.
Take a look at the numbers on our punch profile through 6 rounds.
Man.
Carbajal, it's just been sensational.
Tell you what, he and Vince Phillips might be vying for the honors of the most accurate punchers since we've been using the punch profile.
I'll tell you, as a group of athletes, this group of Olympians, and we'll use that term loosely because they aren't all Olympians, but they've been most impressive. Yes. Just in watching them from day 1 on up to now, where most of them have had 6 to 8 fights, and you could just see the improvement. And I'll tell you, this is really a quality field.
It is. You look at Carbajal, you look at we mentioned Vince Phillips, who was an Army champion, Charles Murray, who was an alternate, who's superb, Kennedy McKinney, Andrew Maynard, who's been excellent, Todd Foster, who is better as a pro than he was as an amateur, Roy Jones, who we'll get to see in our ringside report. These are excellent, and Ray Mercer, of course. These are good boxers.
Absolutely. And even the heavyweight division with Mercer and Tommy Morrison, who you saw earlier, there's some people coming up, and the question of who is there for Mike Tyson may at least have an answer pretty soon. Talking to Bill Caton about that, as a matter of fact, that he's looking hard at a conflict of interest at some point.
Well, if Tommy Morrison would get to the point of fighting Mike Tyson.
It's interesting that he still has approval over Mike Tyson's opponents, and here he is handling Tommy Morrison. Does he approve?
Something tells me, though, his heart may lay with Tommy Morrison if that fight were to come off.
There's a right hand by Carbajal.
Well, Michael is just carving out a win here. I mean, he has not been able to get Herrera out of there, though he had him hurt badly in the 4th round. And it's a workmanlike performance now. He just doesn't want to make any bad mistakes.
There's an overhand right by Herrera that got there.
Michael Carbajal's in his prevent defense now.
That's right. Backing up. Been very game, still throwing a lot of punches, coming to the end of the 7th round. 1 round to go.
Michael Carbajal, even when he misses, keeps following. Watch this. He misses with the right, but he's going to get him with something. There's the left jab and the right following. He will keep after it.
8th and final round. Big right hand by Carbajal to start the 8th round. Now cut alongside the eye, I believe, of Herrera, unless that's just blood off the gloves of Carbajal. There is a cut over the left eye.
Gone to the body as much in the last couple of rounds as he was for a while.
He's also let that uppercut go, which was a big weapon for him early, but nevertheless, pretty hard to criticize anything he's doing out there.
About the only thing he would like as icing on the cake would be to perform well in this 8th to show himself that I could go 8 strong rounds. He hasn't been this distance before.
He said this morning that he felt he could go 10 or 12 rounds. In fact, he wouldn't be disappointed if it did go the distance, and in fact, it appears that it will.
Tell you what, you got to give Herrera some credit. These last 2 rounds, he's been throwing a lot of punches and has been in there very tough with Carbajal. Considering the punishment he has taken, that is not small praise.
Man, he's not pushing his punches. He's still throwing hard punches.
Yeah, the left hooks are pretty heavy. How did I mean that? Heavy as in, heavy, man.
Right. That's right.
The Carbajal defense, once maligned a little bit, I think has improved with every bout, and this bout a good indication. Many punches slipped and blocked by Carbajal.
Good shot. Big uppercut by Herrera. But again, Carbajal, like the real champions, fights back.
Every time there's a punch that may or may not hurt it, but looks good, Carbajal comes right back, not wanting Herrera to take the play away from him.
That's the thing. Carbajal really seems to have the heart of a champion.
He is finishing very strong in this bout. There is not much missing from this young man as a boxer, not much at all.
He very likely will get the first title shot amongst all the, again, we'll use the phrase Olympians, even though some of them aren't. Michael Carbajal, of course, a silver medalist. There's a look at Jose Herrera, who looks like a beaten man, and very likely is. Meanwhile, Michael Carbajal pretty much did everything that he set out to do tonight.
Yeah, and that gesture there is about as animated as he gets in the ring. You have got to look at this young man and know that right now tonight was a milestone for him. He went 8 strong rounds against a good opponent, not a top 10 opponent to be sure, but a good opponent, and he did so in a very strong way.
You know how some guys look good in a hat?
Michael doesn't. Here's the good uppercut by Herrera and the left hook. This will show you that this young man was in there to the end winging. And shortly after this, and we're going to see it there, Carbajal launches his own big attack.
And we'll get the word from Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, all 3 judges, Herb Santos, Doug Tucker, and Bert Clements, score this bout 80-71 for the winner. He's still undefeated. Manitas de Piedra, Michael Carbajal.
Well, the only thing he did wrong was put the hat on. Great win for Michael Carbajal. He really did do everything he set out to do. Most impressive against a tough opponent.